I have to deal with the implications of this shift for the church of the future. Anyway, first of all, let me thank and congratulate St. Jose T, my life partner, for the courage and strong determination with passion. That is the beautiful creativity he has shown by answering the inner calling with such an unconventional bent. He has been creating a new pathway ever since 1996, when he stepped out of sensational daily news journalism at the age of 37. Now he is 64, and now he has come out with a torch to shed light on our common future. Okay. Now, let's look at the implications of the shift from the proprietary Christ to the open source Jesus for the church. And I see only one implication. That is a fundamental implication. And that implication is, in fact, an opportunity to rediscover and embody the message of Jesus by stepping out from the paradigm based on domination, fear, and control to an ecosystem that is based on love, care, respect, justice, peace, partnership, and openness. And that's the only implication and the only opportunity. And that is ready to be received by those who feel its call. Whether or not the church will embrace this opportunity will become clear only after a few decades. In those decades, it can either be a beautiful experience or a very strained one. Which of these will you experience depends on whether you want to transform your first principles from fear to love, from domination to collaborative thriving, and from exploitative economics to life-affirming economics. And this transformation is similar to how the same hardware can receive numerous software updates over its lifetime. And here, consider hardware as the biological human beings and software as the principles and the culture that it runs on. And imbuing these changes in the current system is the great opportunity. That's implication, only one implication. And if somebody wants to embark on that journey of transformation, open source Jesus can show the way. And that is the relevance of Jose T's work, Kurishum Yudhavum Samadhanavum. And how far from Jesus's message are our current first principles? We have to ask ourselves, will the church be able to practice unconditional love, or will it fall under its own baggage? And does it have the courage to ask for forgiveness and relinquish its righteousness? That we have to ask. And we are the church. We are the transformed church, the church of the future. My experience is that it is possible, sure. And whether it is possible for you is a question that you have to answer for yourself. And can you hear your inner voice speaking the gentle truth of love? Or have you got buried under the heaps of theories and arguments? And actually, this is an invitation for you to reflect, which you have the right to accept or reject. And this is not an imposition. And hence, there is nothing to debate, nothing to argue, nothing to invalidate, nothing to protest against, or nothing to dissect. And this is nothing to be feared. and take this invitation only if you feel moved to do so. Then we have the opportunity here to build a realistic working model of personal transformation that will help us understand how we can change to our world of unconditional love. We should be brave enough to contemplate our lives, do what we thought was outside the box, and do it repeatedly. Then we can ensure that we have vision too and not just sight. As a result of the evolution of consciousness, we know that times are changing. And as individuals taken to a greater reality, we are part of a much larger sea change. This momentous realization of the distance between Jesus and the proprietary Christ paradigm is not a mere idea. It is pure awareness. And it is really an expansion of our consciousness, the consciousness of humankind. Now is the time. And to grasp this, the elder generations have to make a profound paradigm shift in the understanding of the concept of a fear-inducing God and its underlying assumptions. And this uprooting can be a healing and a radical makeover. This is a call for us to be prophetic in our lives. By prophetic, I mean the task to nurture, to nourish, and evoke a consciousness and perception alternative to the consciousness and perception of the dominant ultra traditional culture, which is really ultra patriarchal that we know and around us. And it is a sort of swimming against the current, no doubt. And at least it used to be, but now even the current is aligning with the call for love. Now, we know a lot of patience is needed to understand that important things need time, that change is organic. And this shift is also an organic change. This is organic. The change is organic. And we have the chance to strip off the old self with its practices and clothe ourselves with the new self, which is being renewed in wisdom according to the compassionate, unconditional love. We take the opportunity to transform ourselves by the renewing of our minds so that we may discern the will of God. All these things we come across the Bible. There in the Romans and the Ephesians, we have these things. Will of God, that is we realize that the spirit of unconditional love is within everyone. And let's remember the verses. You are the temple of the living God. The kingdom of God is among you. And so remember such verses. And we have to reflect whether we follow that or not. And the paradigm shift from the proprietary Christ to Jesus is not a rebellion or a challenge. It is not a rebellion and not a challenge. This is a grand opportunity. That's the one implication I have already told. It is a grand opportunity for the church to contextualize the teachings and the messages of Jesus in the new world of this young generation. And but for this, the church needs to do some unlearning and relearning or rediscovering, which will involve open-hearted contemplation. And so it includes open-hearted contemplation. And this shift is as radical as the Copernican revolution, no doubt in that. And so this is a shift from the Cartesian Newtonian world to an interconnected world of relationships. Such a new understanding of life is now emerging. And it has already emerged. We know when we look at the faces and the behavior of our own new generation children. And now a change from seeing the world as a machine to understanding it as a network of living relationships. It has already emerged. And then a shift from a mechanistic to a holistic and ecological worldview. Now, a change from seeing the world as a machine to understanding it as a network. All these things are here in and around the world. And so we have to see and realize with that vision. And then during this change of an epoch, most of us feel that the categories and assumptions that we used before to navigate our world are no longer effective. And we feel that the major problems of our time, environmental sustainability, climate change, social justice, peace, etc., should not be understood in isolation. Nowadays, we are sure. And they are all interconnected, interdependent, and intersectional. And they are different facets of one single crisis, which is largely a crisis of perception. A crisis arising from perceptions based on fear and not love, that again the result of a fear-inducing goal that we have to overcome. And the crisis springs from an outdated God conception and the subsequent outdated worldview and a perception of reality inadequate for dealing with our globally interconnected world. The solution demands a radical paradigm shift in our perceptions, no other way. And so an uprooting that is needed. And let's consider life as a continuous learning process. As adults, many times the art of learning is to know what to unlearn. The art of learning is really knowing what to unlearn. A lot of unlearning and relearning processes we can enjoy during this transformation. Whether we are in our 60s, 70s, or 80s, that doesn't matter. And we have the opportunity to unlearn so many perceptions of the proprietorial Christ software to enjoy the unconditional love of Jesus. In olden days, large cultural changes happened over unrecognizably long intervals. But now, changes can happen in quick iteration. And our trust in the unconditional, merciful love helps us to relearn the definitions and the premises of these definitions. Relearn the definitions by looking at the basis of these definitions. For example, what's we can test or reflect or find out or rediscover our understanding of sin, one, then our understanding of humility, our understanding of selfhood or self-love, our understanding of inner freedom, and the role of being a co-creator, our understanding of the universe, our understanding of the equal dignity of man and woman. And so we can relearn these definitions. How? And then true understanding comes when we start to look at our own beliefs. We may find the roots in the conditioning of religion, society, education, family, and the media, and even our genes. And so we have to find out the roots in our own belief system. And so what happens there, from where we have to find out. And then after finding out, we can weigh those old ideas against some new paradigms that may serve us better. And every time we practice a new thought based on unconditional love, it can spark new neural pathways in us. So it is easy to relearn. Now, it is really a blessing. We have science here in order to help us. the neuroplasticity is there, we know. That is the ability of the brain to reorganize its home and reorganize its structure and the basic synaptics, etc. And so everybody knows nowadays, even the small children, they know a new thought of unconditional love can be there in order to say goodbye to our own thoughts on a conditional love. And so we have to find it out, and then we have to weigh those and then find out one thought of unconditional love, and then we can substitute that with the other. And so that is the pattern. It is easy. Nowadays, it is sure, and it is very clear also. And much of what we have learned and experienced has been incorporated into our biological self, and we wear it like a garment. We know, oh, ഒന്ന് ചിന്തിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മുടെ ചിന്തയുണ്ടോ മാറാൻ പോണു, ഇത്രയും പ്രായമായില്ലേ എന്ന് നമ്മൾ തന്നെ പറഞ്ഞു പോകും. ഞങ്ങളൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു പോയിട്ടുള്ളതാണ്. ഇതെന്തൊരു സംഭവം, ഓരോ സെക്കൻഡ് മാറുകയാണ്. പഴയ രീതിയിലുള്ള ചിന്തകൾ പൊളിയുക, മാറുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഭയങ്കര ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടൊക്കെ തോന്നും. പക്ഷെ കുറച്ചായി കഴിയുമ്പോൾ we will enjoy that change, because there is only one thing that is constant, that is change itself, we know. And so every moment we are changing, then we will not be able to make certain buildings or huge institutions like that, because every moment we are changing. The vision that is always that is changing in a way, and then we have to substitute it with another thought of unconditional love. That is how the new neural pathways are forming. And so letting go of the outdated and embracing the new sounds easy, but it requires an honest attempt from everyone. That's the only needed thing. An honest attempt is needed from everyone. അവിടെ എന്താ ഒരു proprietorial rights നമുക്ക് വെച്ചോണ്ടിരിക്കാൻ പറ്റുകയല്ല. ഏത് മൊമെന്റും we have to say goodbye to our outmoded view, world view, or our own traditional views, our own patriarchal mindsets, everything. And so this is really a radical paradigm shift, no doubt in that. And prototyping unconditional love in ourselves make us free. And that's why personal transformation is needed, and it is also gradual. If we are ready to go through that style, naturally the spirit will be there to guide us, and it is really a very enjoying. We will be able to listen to the inner voice. Oh, you think like that, and it is based on conditional love. Now you can think like this. Then we say, hi, you ഇത്ര നാൾ ഇത്ര മണ്ടിയായിരുന്നോ മണ്ടനായിരുന്നോ എന്ന് നമ്മൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ ചോദിച്ചു പോകും, അറിയാതെ തന്നെ ചോദിച്ചു പോകും. അടുക്കളയിലാണേലും റൂമിലാണേലും എവിടെയാണേലും എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ ഇത് വയർ ചെയ്തോണ്ടിരിക്കില്ലേ, റീവയർ ചെയ്തോണ്ടിരിക്കുക without any effort. Only one thing is needed, that is open hearted approach. That is needed, and if we are ready to do it, then it is okay. Then it helps us to enjoy inner freedom, and it makes us fearless. True love casts out fear. Ephesians, true love casts out fear. പൂർണ്ണമായ സ്നേഹം ഭയത്തെ ബഹിഷ്കരിക്കുന്നു. And our world famous, or our old favorite quote, that is, fear of God is the big. It conveys no meaning in this new epoch of fearless boys and girls. No meaning for that. And that's the first thing I have come across. എനിക്കുണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഒരു ഡൗട്ട്, ഈ ചെറുപ്പം മുതലേ സ്കൂളിന്റെ മതിലുകളിലൊക്കെ എഴുതി വെക്കുമല്ലോ, ദൈവഭയം ജ്ഞാനത്തിന്റെ ഉറവിടം. അപ്പൊ അതെങ്ങനെയാണ്? അത് അൺലേൺ ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരുന്നു എൻ്റെ ഒരു വലിയ ടാസ്ക്. ഞങ്ങളുടെ കുടുംബത്തിന്റെ ആ ടാസ്ക് ഒരുമാതിരി എന്താ 100 തരത്തിലുള്ള വേരുകളായിട്ട് നമ്മളിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ പിണഞ്ഞു കിടക്കുകയാണ്. അതൊന്ന് അൺലേൺ ചെയ്ത് വരുമ്പോഴും we become fearless to a great extent, and then again something other will be there. We have to find it out, and then it will be there. And so this new epoch of fearless boys and girls, those who are freed from fear, as Jesus promised. And nowadays the new generations, we feel they are fearless, and they're very free also, straightforward, unlike ourselves. And then as Jesus promised, they are very free. And you can read more about this. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, how to unlearn that. And so since we have only certain minutes, and so you can read learn more about this at viewspaper.in. It is an e-journal facilitating unlearning and relearning by the elder generation to accompany the new generations. And it focuses on the reconciliation between religions and the idea and practice of unconditional love. That is the unlearning process of that proverb is there at the in the viewspaper.in. You can read more about that there. And then when the phrase love of God is substituted with the phrase fear of God, the following changes can happen. Let me mention 2 or 3, then you can do it. And so one, the change from the concept of a fear-inducing God to the concept of God as unconditional love. That is the first change. When that phrase love of God is substituted with the phrase fear of God, these are the changes. 1, we have said. 2, we can't use the word surrender. And that is really the terrible, horrible realization that both of us have. And so we can't say surrender, because if we use that word surrender, we are before such a King, Christ, and so who is really a ruler, conditional. And so we can't use the word surrender. And after that, we can't use the word surrender anymore. Instead, we can use the word embrace. E-M-B-R-A-C-E, embrace. We can embrace the love of Jesus. And so it is an organic change, and the words are coming gradually. And so now we have that. And we can visualize a spherical structure instead of a pyramidal one. And that's the first realization that I have. And so in my vision, that pyramidal hierarchical structure has become circular or spherical. And it is there. Actually, it will help us to restructure our own mindset. Then we exercise our free will. We embrace our role as co-creators. And we will embrace our role of imagination. And we will be able to fuse the feeling between, that is a fusion between intellect and heart, a heart and intellect, or the fusion between head and heart. All these things will be there if we change from the Christ paradigm to Jesus. And it will change our mindset towards life. That also will be changed. We'll change our mindset towards suffering. And so I'll conclude. Then some respond to the suffering of a crisis with a shrug. Actually, we see that they will they say God made the world that way, and that is just how it is. So many are saying, but such a response misinterprets God's creation as static. When it is a dynamic process, it is a dynamic process. The world is constantly being made. We know. And it is not like we have been handed this all wrapped up and sealed. Here, have the world. And so we have to understand the dynamic process of this world, the change that is dynamic. And we consider man and woman as persons with equal dignity. And so this patriarchy will go away. And we will be able to see man and woman with equal dignity. And so priesthood. And so all of us are concerned with priesthood. And so this priesthood, priests may become co-participants and co-facilitators. Everyone becomes good disciples of each other, one another, and thus it goes, because the mindset has changed then. And thus, success for most people requires unlearning as much as learning. And so the main part we have to do is when we are 60, 70, 80, we have to do a lot of unlearning. That is the only task. With an open mind, readiness to embrace love, it is possible. Learn the art of unlearning and relearning. And during this period of scientific advancements, we can move forward with faith and hope, because we know science is the science without religion or without faith, that is lame, and religion without science is blind, we know. And so we can make use of the recent developments, advancements in science, and we can find out the roots of our faith and something about our mindset, our approach. And so when we come to the discussion session, I think you are welcome to share your experiences, share your feelings about the difference between the theoretical Christ and the Jesus you have experienced for yourself. And for actually, I think it will help us just like a personal cognitive activity that in our own lives we can do. On one side, the sayings of Jesus, and on the other side, the theoretical Christ paradigm, and see how much it is there and to notes, and we will be able to evaluate our own mindset, our own view, our own perception, and then transformation will come automatically when we think like that, because the spirit is there in us. We have to be guided by the spirit, and it will happen. It is sure, because I have changed a lot. We have changed a lot, and that's why we are here. Now we are 64. I don't know how we have come up to this age, because every day nowadays change means a set of immense joy, because every time, every moment we have to change a lot. And that's why. Thank you very much.